Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. John Owen talks about sports and movies. Thank you for checking out today's video. I always appreciate the support. Let's get into it. So today's video is going to be a review of the Hunger Games, the new Hunger Games movie, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Overall, I thought it was a really faithful adaptation, but I'm going to dive into more of my thoughts. And we also are going to have some special guests today. Me and my friends, we all went to it, so they're going to jump in from time to time. Whenever they feel need fit. It's going to be very free flow, very casual, just like the channel typically is. But make sure you leave your thoughts down in the comments below. What did you think about the movie? If you read the book, how did you feel? How do you feel about how they adapted it? Great stuff like that. I'm also going to show a spoiler alert. We're going to be diving deep into all of it. So if you haven't seen it, save this video for later. Or if you don't care about spoilers, we shall proceed. All right. Someone want to jump in first? Someone want to go first? Come on. Come in the frame. Come in the frame.
Can I say hi?
Come in the frame. Come on, Carly. Everyone, this is Carly.
I thought it was a very gruesome movie. If we're starting off real strong, I don't know if it should have been rated PG-13. President Snow is very good-looking actor.
So hot. That buzz cut.
Is a common consensus among
I can
the
fix
group.
him.
Emphasis on attractive.
Yes. I felt like it also was putting a lot in. It was crunch time. It always felt like they were trying to really get something in there really fast. It was very gruesome.
Very, very easily the most gruesome of the franchise. And to elaborate off of Carly's pacing concerns that she brought, the first act, honestly, this is my biggest complaint with the movie, and I typically don't start with complaints, but I'm gonna do it here because Carly brought up great points.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome, of course. The first act is very rushed, and I do understand that you do have to cut a lot whenever you are adapting a book into a film. Obviously, the how you break things up is different, so that's to be understood. But that's a very slow act, and then they flipped it, or a very slow act in the book, and then to flip it and to turn it into the most rush act of the entire film didn't seem like a great choice to me, because it really doesn't go as well or in depth of like how much financial trouble the Snows are in, the state of despair that they truly are in, and how desperate Snow is to win the Plinth Prize. It really felt like the movie did not dive into that enough. It's like, oh yeah, he's broke. There's no context. There's no you don't really express the depth of the despair that they're in. That's probably my biggest complaint with the film. It's very gruesome. You're like, well, this is a violent dystopian franchise, John. Like that would make sense, but the games are much more raw because it's not as much of a spectacle at this point because it's in the very early stages, and so the arena is
just human versus human.
Yeah, it's very primal almost, and so it is very gruesome.
Let's talk about some positives.
Yeah. Positives. This is a very faithful adaptation. I really feel like they do a really good job of, especially like the big plot points. They did cut some of like the minor subplots out, but like I said, you have to do that. I felt like they got Snow's characterization correct from the book. Tom Blythe does an incredible job portraying just like the utter wickedness and despicable qualities of Snow, while also somehow being charming and very fascinating. I wanted to keep learning more about him, even though I hated him. He's a horrible person. He's cold. He's conniving. He's calculated. But he always gives everyone else in the movie and in the book, but more specifically on the movie, just enough to keep them hooked, which makes him a really horrible person. the master manipulating, which of course we see in the original the original series, the movies and books as well. But you really get to see it in action, and kind of the beginning, and when he can also kind of use his charm and good looks as opposed to just using his position of power like we see in the Hunger Game in the other Hunger Game movies. I felt like they did a good job adapting the other characters as well. The major other characters like Asajantis, Lucy, who I didn't really like in the book, and I don't really like her in the movie. But
Lucy Gray.
yeah, but that means they did a good job adapting her. And then Jesper, Jessup, Reaper, Coral, the other tributes. I think it's really, this movie always keeps you on the edge of your seat because there is always a twist. There's always something kind of radical happening. It's just like in the book. If you've read the book, you know that there's pretty much a plot twist at the end of every chapter. And I feel like the movie does a good job of replicating that sort of pace that, or the same urgency that the book has. I think this movie's biggest strength is that it's very different from the other Hunger Game movies. It provides a lot of very good context, exceptional world building. The world building in the Hunger Games is absolutely incredible to begin with, and this only adds to that. It's nice to see a different side of the world because in the other movies it's more focused on Katniss and being in the games and then in the Revolution. But the main character is outside of that and comes from a completely different place. And God, Snow's just awful. He sucks, but I was fascinated by him. So intrigued. You also don't have to stay in the frame if you don't want to. sorry. But it was a little weird. Maybe perhaps like the songs just coming out of nowhere. Because if I'm watching like a musical or something like that's something I would expect. It was maybe sometimes the movie is a little on the nose about things, especially like in the first act. Like there'll be like really like very very on the nose dialogue. I'm like, okay, we probably could have written that a little better, but yeah. Anyone else have some thoughts they want to? Come on, Sydney. All right, everyone, this is Sydney.
Hello. Okay, my first one is I never read the books, but I was able to follow everything. And I'm very bad at following movies. So I did appreciate that. And they had a major grammar mistake in the beginning. It said first annual Hunger Games. Nothing that is the first is first annual. But it's nothing riveting.
Comms.
And I don't have a whole lot. I can't contribute deep thought to this.
That's okay.
Because I never read the books. But yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sydney. I appreciate it.
So fun.
To kind of go back on the world building, I think it was, like the little Katniss hint. The use of the Mockingjays and the Jabberjays in this book. I think it's really ironic that the fact that him using the Jabberjay to reclaim wealth and social power ended up being the downfall, and Katniss being the Mockingjay and being the symbol of the revolution that ended his reign, ended his life, ended Pan Am really kind of as what was constructed. God, and poor Sajantis, man, he really gets the really short end of the stick here. Snow just toys with him and plays with him and just pits his good heart against him. But that's to be expected with Snow. I mean, we know that. We know he's a master manipulator, coerces people into doing what he wants. I mean, every single person is just a pawn in his game. And it is a really fascinating watch to see him be able to move around everyone. Even like Dean Highbottom, he gets around. Dr. Ghoul, he gets around. They all end up serving his higher purpose for the need for control. And I think that need for power, need for control is exemplified in the scene where they're in the cabin and him and Lucy are gonna attempt to run away together, but once he sees the gun, then he realizes there's nothing. Lucy's not more important to him than power. His family's not more important to him than power. Nothing else matters, and you can see that final switch click in his head. And Tom Blythe does an incredible job of portraying that expression. And you can just see it just flip in his brain. It's an incredible scene. But I think this movie shows everything horrible about Snow in a really interesting and very attractive package. Kristen, Lindy, you guys have any thoughts?
Yeah.
Come over here.
No, you hit the points. You really did.
I have one more. I just don't want to get up.
Okay.
The game host. He was good. I
Yeah,
liked him.
Lucky.
He was
Yeah,
a good add
yeah,
to the.
Lucky was great. Lucky was fantastic. Kristen,
Okay.
come on, Kristen, come on.
I don't really have much to say. I liked the fact that you can really tell that the Hunger Games wasn't established yet, and this was kind of the start of the manipulation that comes into play, like during the Hunger Games, and like getting donations or whatever they call it, and sponsors and all of that. That was really
talk about
interesting.
how the donations were so bad.
Come over here.
The drone.
I thought that was really interesting the way they portrayed it, and the fact that like the arena was just like a coliseum or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was no added effects.
Destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thanks, Kristen.
Great.
But yeah, no, to Sydney's point about Lucky was great. I do feel like this book / movie does unfortunately contribute to a little bit of small universe syndrome. Like Lucky being related to Caesar. There's a Plutar reference, or Heavensby, like someone he's related to is referenced in the movie. Tigress is Snow's cousin, and which is fine, and it's really not that big of a deal. I just there are other franchises that run into small universe syndrome, but that's okay. That's a very minor nitpick. Hunter, I don't know how to say her name. Schaefer, who plays Tigress, did a really great job. Tigress was great in the book. Her role really got reduced, which is really unfortunate because she's fantastic in the book, but she's really good in her limited role. And if Hunter doesn't get casted to play Zelda in eventual live action Legend of Zelda movie, Riot in the Streets, which is the only correct choice. But yeah, I really enjoyed the movie. Just move to my overall thoughts. So overall, serving as a completely different entry compared to the rest of the series, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes adds to the already incredible world building of the franchise. Snow is both absolutely despicable and fascinating as a protagonist. It is easily the most gruesome movie in the franchise and truly depicts the true horrors of the games. There's a twist and turn that keeps the audience absolutely captivated. Despite a rushed first act, the pacing is well done for the last 2/3 of the movie. Tom Blythe does an incredible job portraying all the calculated and conniving nature of Snow. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I gotta knock it 1 point for it being a rushed first act, but overall, it's fantastic. Please go see it. You'll have a great time.
Wait,
Okay, come on. Hop in.
I'm just gonna add to your overall point. Gosh, about Snow. It was insane to me whenever him and Lucy were like sitting by the lake or whatever, and Lucy was like talking about like how bad the Capitol was and stuff, and Snow was like, "At least there's order there. Like, I can't wait to get back." Like, he firsthand witnessed like all the murder and like the manipulation by the Capitol. Like, he saw it better than anybody else, and he still felt like it was better because it had order. Like, the toxicity, man. But still so attractive. Like, can't he doesn't get knocked any points on level of attractiveness.
Yeah, no.
For anything he does.
Absolutely.
He shaved that head.
Yeah, that buzz cut. It was universal acclaim for the buzz cut. Thank you guys for watching today's video. I always appreciate the support. Make sure you guys check out the link content above, and have a great day. Thanks.